The grand assembly of Zephyria buzzed with the familiar sounds of intergalactic discourse, clicking mandibles, harmonic throat vibrations, and the occasional burst of bioluminescent communication. Representatives from 47 different species had gathered in the crystalline halls that floated above the gas giant's swirling storms, their purpose as routine as it was ancient, to review the galactic census and assess emerging civilizations. High Counselor Vexth, a towering being whose iridescent carapace reflected the chamber's ethereal lighting, called the assembly to order with a resonant chime that emanated from his chest cavity. We convene today to examine the reports from Sector 7 Alpha, specifically regarding the newly cataloged species from the third planet of System Sol 3. A collective rustling filled the chamber, the equivalent of polite attention among the diverse assembly. These evaluations were typically mundane affairs. Most emerging species followed predictable patterns: tribal warfare, resource depletion, eventual extinction, or slow technological advancement that might in several millennia qualify them for galactic consideration. The presentation began with standard holographic displays showing a blue-green marble suspended in the void. Species designation human, announced the lead surveyor, Kaleth, whose 3 eyes independently tracked different data streams. Carbon-based bipeds, average lifespan 74 local years, population approaching 8 billion individuals. Murmurs of mild interest rippled through the assembly. 8 billion was impressive for a pre-contact civilization, though not unprecedented. They have achieved basic spaceflight capabilities, Kaleth continued. Primitive by our standards, but showing rapid advancement. They have established small settlements on their moon and are planning expeditions to neighboring planets. Counselor Mordu, representing the ancient ethereal collective, gestured dismissively with a tendril of living energy. Standard progression, filed under monitor for future consideration. Next item. But Kaleth remained at the podium, his 3 eyes now focused on a single point, something that typically indicated distress among his species. There is an anomaly in our assessment. The chamber fell silent. Anomalies were rare and usually significant. Our deep scan probes detected something unusual about their military capabilities and strategic thinking. While technologically primitive, their tactical adaptability and... Kaleth paused, searching for the right universal translator protocol. Aggressive creativity appeared to be off the standard scales. A sound that might have been laughter emerged from the crystalline hive delegation, a harsh, tinkling noise like breaking glass. Aggressive creativity? Their representative chimed. All emerging species exhibit primitive violence. It's why most never advance beyond their home systems. Kaleth's skin began to shift colors, a sign of agitation among his people. Respected colleagues, with permission, I would like to share some specific observations. Vexth nodded gravely, and the holographic display shifted to show archived human conflicts. In their most recent global conflict, when faced with aerial bombardment of civilian populations, they did not surrender or negotiate. Instead, they developed entirely new, defensive strategies, turning urban environments into tactical advantages. When faced with technological disadvantages, they compensated with unconventional tactics that defied our strategic modeling programs. The image changed to show primitive human aircraft. When their flying machines proved inferior to enemy designs, they began using them as guided projectiles, sacrificing both machine and pilot to destroy targets of strategic value. Our analysts initially classified this as a data error, an uncomfortable stillness settled over the assembly. Sacrificial. Tactics were known, but typically only among hive mind species or those with rigid honor codes. Furthermore, Kaleth continued, his color shifts becoming more rapid. When one of their nations developed a devastating weapon of mass destruction, instead of using it to dominate their planet as our models predicted, they engaged in what they termed deterrence, a psychological warfare strategy that prevented conflict through the threat of mutual annihilation. Elder Prophetess Zarna of the Oracle caste had remained silent throughout the presentation, but now her ancient form began to glow with the soft light that preceded a vision state. The assembly turned toward her with respect and wariness. The Oracle caste's predictions had guided galactic civilization for eons. Her voice, when it came, carried the weight of foresight. In the turning of the cosmic wheel, there shall come a species that knows not the word impossible. They will look upon the darkness between stars not as void, but as territory unconquered. When others retreat, they advance. When others yield, they adapt. They will transform defeat into strategy and weakness into strength. The chamber erupted in discussion, but Zarna continued, her luminescence growing brighter. They are the children of a world that has tried to kill them with ice and fire, flood and famine, predator and plague. Each trial has forged them harder. They do not seek peace. They create it through strength. They do not wait for rescue. They become the rescuers. Counselor Mordu's energy form flickered with skepticism. Respected Prophetess, surely you speak of some distant future species? These humans have barely escaped their atmosphere. Zarna's glow intensified to an almost blinding level. When the devourer fleets arrive from the void between galaxies, when the harvest ships come to claim worlds like grain, it will not be the ancient races with their crystal cities and energy forms who stand in the gap. It will be the young species that learned warfare in mud and blood, that turned scarcity into innovation. The assembly dissolved into chaos. Representatives demanded clarification, evidence, reassessment. But Zarna had fallen silent, her prophecy complete. High Counselor Vexith struggled to restore order, but the debate raged for hours. Some called for immediate uplift and integration of humanity into galactic civilization. Others demanded military intervention to prevent potential future threats. Still others insisted on continued monitoring. In the end, they reached the compromise that civilizations often do when faced with uncertain futures. They decided to wait and see. The final vote was recorded as Species Human, Monitor with elevated interest. Kaleth filed his report and prepared for the long journey home, but his sleep cycles were troubled by recurring images from the human archives, a species that had somehow survived planetary-scale catastrophes, that had turned competition into cooperation when faced with extinction, that looked at impossible odds and called them Tuesday. 3 galactic standard months later, the first Devourer scout ships arrived at the edge of the galaxy. By then it was too late to uplift the humans. It was too late to stop them. It was too late to run. The sky turned black with human warships, and the galaxy learned that sometimes the prophets were not just right. They were conservative in their estimates.